Well, good evening, guys. How y'all doing? Good to see you. I almost fell asleep there waiting. Jody, how you doing? I see Michael Blade was in here a little early, and about 2 o'clock this afternoon when I posted the video up. That's Drones 863. Justin, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Dan, how are you, man? You home from the hospital yet? Let us know. Rod is here, Hot Rod in Daytona. You didn't finish it over the weekend, Mitch. No, I could have, and I wanted to, but well, then you guys wouldn't have a show tonight. You would get to see me puzzled like I usually am with these things. You got audio problems, Rod. You saying, is it me or the audio? Let me know how the audio is. If it's any good, I'm using this little lavalier mic. Sounds okay in my headphones, so let me know if there's an audio problem. Mike Night Train, good to see you. Rat RH, how you doing? And here we are, Monday night. Jody says it's good here. Michael McReynolds, hi Michael, how are you? Welcome. And with that, a Hot Rod says it was him. Okay, false alarm. With that, let me bring in Carlos. Are you ready, Carlos? You paying attention? All right.
Good evening. Good evening,
How
everyone.
you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good.
So, when we left off, Biff was just about to ask Mary Lou to the senior prom.
Yeah.
When we left off,
We had 3 out of the 4.
it looked like this. Well, I did cheat a little over the weekend. I did reverse. I did go in and download. I didn't want to waste too much time on the stream doing all this hunting for software stuff. So I did download the latest version of BL Heli 32 Suite and fired it right up, and it worked no problem. I reversed the 3 motors. Oops. And we are going to go back into BL Heli Suite tonight, first thing, and we're going to show you what I did. And I'm also going to check to make sure that there's another setting or two that's not only recommended, but turning out to be pretty good, and that is to make sure the PWM frequency is at 48 kilohertz instead of 24. Smooths things out a little bit, and
Is that pulse
for some
width
reason
modulation?
correct. For some reason, all the ESCs are flashed with the stock firmware, and it's set to, most of the stock settings are just fine, but it's set to 24 kilohertz out of the box. So we're going to raise that up to 48, and we'll do that. Other than that, not a big crowd here yet, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Maybe they'll come. Watch the build.
Is anyone familiar with editing GoPro footage? Please get up with Jim from Above and Beyond Drones. Oh no, I talked to Jim last night. So you guys have been busy flying all weekend?
Just that one day. Did a bunch of packs. It was good.
Yeah, it rained hell. It rained like hell here this morning. It's nice. It's starting to get nice out there now. Hopefully.
Ed was able to fly and break his drone.
Oh no.
He'll show you
Well,
later.
I saw you fly your drone into the end of that covered walkway.
It just, that was the first time, and I did not know. I thought it was just going to be open. All of a sudden, it turned into like stairs going downstairs, and then this little wall in the way.
Well, you pulled up and you hit
A little bit too much.
Yeah. But scout out the sites before you fly through them, man.
I should have. I assumed. That was part of the adventure.
Yeah, I guess. So did that actually break the camera?
No, just
Was out of focus. So you don't
focus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. It was the camera on the Nazgul you were talking to me
Right.
about replacing. Wasn't
Yeah.
that one? Okay. All right. So, all right, let's get started here. So we're not here till midnight.
No, actually, replacing the one on the Acrobrat. That's the one I do want to replace eventually. Because remember, it's loose. The ring in the back.
Oh, that's right. That was the one that we finally got to stay focused, and then you smacked it into the roof.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
The joys of
I get it.
FPV.
I get it. Yeah, I want to get started on this here right in, so it doesn't go too long. If I was going to actually sit here and just finish it, I'd probably have it done in about an hour or so. But I don't want to rush through these things. Click, 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 and I want to explain it as I go. So it'll take a little bit longer. But let's get started here. So let's see. I think what I'm going to do is. Make me full screen. Carlos, you're just
Good
going to be
idea.
kind of sitting there in the background
I'll be watching the chat.
talking. Okay, and we're going to go over to this monitor over here,
It's black.
and I'm going to plug in the quad to the USB. I'm going to get myself a flight battery.
You do see that the
Battery.
screen is black, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the computer screen.
All right.
I haven't opened BL Heli yet, and there it is. Okay, so we got BL Heli opened. It says we're on COM 4, and let's connect. I am connected. So over here it says read setup. Let's read the setup. No ESC found. Oh, and that is probably because
It's not
the
plugged in.
ESC is not powered on. There's always an explanation
What's up, Rigor Mortis?
if something goes wrong. Yeah.
Rigor Mortis just joined us. Mark.
Hiya, Mark. I see Dan in there. How you doing, Dan?
He's going to be in and out.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, purple
That's
antennas on order. What's up, Rat?
Yeah, right. He's not feeling better. Man, get better, will you, buddy? All right, so we read the setup again, and this time it found 4 ESCs, Mambo Mini, revision 32.7 of the software, so we'll say OK. And yeah, if I look down here at the PWM frequency right over here, it says it's set to 24. So we're going to crank it all the way up to 48, and we're going to write the setup.
Now, what does this 24 to 48 do?
It makes it's kind of like a PID loop frequency. In other words, instead of sampling where the motor should be set 24,000 times a second, it's sampling it now 48,000 times a second. So it's
okay.
twice the resolution on the on the ESC control from the flight controller. And the between the new 32-bit ESCs, which are much more powerful than the old 8-bit BL Heli SESCs. They have a lot more power. They can run that loop much faster, get a little better resolution, and it makes for, supposedly, for smoother motors and more efficient motors, which is why when they do that on these little whoops, they get an extra minute and a half of battery out of a flight by just increasing the PWM frequency. So we have gone ahead and done that, and we're going to check to make sure that everything is set properly. So I have here motor 1 is reversed. Remember, 1, 2, and 3 needed to be reversed, and 4 needed to be regular. So
4 was the same, yeah.
Yeah, 1 is reversed, 2 is reversed, 3 is reversed, and 4 is normal. So the
Just
ESC,
Hop says you have to retune afterwards.
Oh,
and
no,
Michael
no.
Blade is in the house.
Oh, hey, Michael. How you doing? No, you don't have to retune. Not that I've ever heard. You just change the PWM frequency. It just makes the ESC internally work a little faster. It doesn't really change its communication with the flight controller whatsoever. If you're Vanover or one of those guys, or Mr. Steel, because there is going to be a little tiny difference. It's going to be maybe a 0.5% less power on the low end or something, but much smoother and quieter and more efficient at the mid-range and top. You might want to, those guys might retune a click on the PIDs, but for, Sunday flyers like me, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so we have the ESC is all set, ready to go. Now, I did find something really cool in BL Heli 32. I've never fooled with it too much, but there is a motors tab. You don't have to. You really don't have to go back into Betaflight to test the motors.
You can spin them right there.
You check the box and you can spin the motors right from here. So as you made your settings, you can spin the motors. So let's go back to the ESC setup and make sure everything is all right. Okay, so let's check the setup one more time while we're in here.
Hey, Drone Bum and Ed have joined us.
Hi, guys.
As well as Mike Kenny.
Doing? Mike Kenny, good to see you.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we're starting to get a few people. Somebody's interested in this stuff. That's good to see. So motor number 1 is reversed. PWM is 42. Motor number 2 is reversed. Motor number 3 is reversed. Motor number 4 is normal. We are okay. So we are going to disconnect right here. And we're going to get rid of this.
I love you too, Dan Drone Worship.
And we're going to unplug the battery. And we're going to unplug the drone and then go over to the workbench. Voila. There we go.
It's a clean picture.
Excuse me for 1 second while I unplug my headphones and untie all the knots in the cord. Okay, I can hear you now. All right.
Mihap says it does change his tune.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, since we're starting with a stock tune on Betaflight here, Carlos, we would have to start from stock anyway if we were really going to fine tune this thing. But
I'm not that.
I can't imagine that, like I say, not being a professional FPV pilot. So let's see if I can make this a little bigger. You got to do it by pinching the screen. There we go. Oops, it's very touchy.
That's good.
Okay,
that should
there
be
you
good.
Go, right there. Okay, so we'll start here. Now,
you broke it.
What we have to do tonight is we have to install the camera. We have to install the VTX. We have to install the receiver. And
DVR?
That's part of the camera.
Okay.
So the DVR. So let's start with the receiver. So for the receiver, we have the TBS, and I did swap out your module, so you now have a micro TX module. And the receiver, is that you sucking, Carlos?
Oh, you hear that? Yeah.
Do you think?
Sorry. Oops.
Okay, so we have everything's packaged. I'll tell you one thing about these drone guys. They sure know how to package stuff. So in here we got a cable set. All that, look at this. All that, even there's a heat shrink for the receiver. That's cool. All that for 4 wires and a heat shrink. And a rubber band. Wow. Okay, and in here is the receiver.
So you converted the mini to full? Is that what I understood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the nano to full. So
cool.
Of course, there was absolutely no instructions or anything that came with it, but it was pretty obvious. You did have to solder a connector onto the board, but other than that, wasn't that big a deal. All right, and this is the Immortal T antenna right here. So what we're going to do, I want to get the wiring diagram for the receiver and the flight controller up here.
Quick hello to Mr. Mad Kiwi.
Let me show you something here, Carlos. What I've done. I did my homework. I did my homework. Craig, how you doing, buddy?
No, he's not here. It's my
eyes.
I
thought you said
it's
Mad
Mike
Kiwi.
Kenny. I thought I saw Mad Kiwi.
Oh, God.
I'm shot.
Carlos, get
I'm
some new
tired.
glasses, man. All right, let's see here. We've got, I got a directory here, Carlos, with all your stuff in it. These are your CLI dumps that we did. This is the basic wiring diagram from the Mamba flight controller, and what I want to see on here is on the TBS Crossfire receiver, they're using channel 1 for the TX on the receiver, and this channel 2 would be the RX. Okay, so I have a choice of a yellow and a white wire, so I will use yellow on the TX and white on the RX, not that it makes any difference. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that wiring diagram up there while I do this. So let's go back over to here. In fact, let's go to here, and I'll zoom in so you can watch the soldering action. Let's see here. It's really hard to, unless you've worked with these things, it's really hard to comprehend the size of these things. There's a penny.
Wow.
It's amazing, isn't it? Look at that. It's the size of half a penny.
Miniature.
Yeah, also fun to solder. So, of course, nothing's marked on the board. So let's look. I'm going to look at the picture and see which way the board. The board is up when the big IC chip is on top, and the antenna is on top. So that's up, and the square. Whoops. Now that I've zoomed it in, the square is generally ground on these things, and that's true. So that's also a good clue whether you got it the right way. If you see the square pad, that's ground. So that would be ground, 5 volts, channel 1, channel 2. And
Mitch, Tracer TBS, what's that?
TBS Tracer is a new protocol that they've come up with to kind of compete with the Ghost, the Immersion RC Ghost.
Rat wants to know if you're going to be using TBS Tracer.
No. I'm into Crossfire, and I like the lower frequency. The only disadvantage that I've heard of with Crossfire is that you can get jammed up if you have too many people all flying on it at the same time, whereas Tracer's on 2.4 gigahertz, and there's a lot more room on that. But with a higher frequency comes a shorter range. So, although when you get into these Crossfire things, the ranges on them are so.
Hey, can I say something out of the ordinary, but something I think needs to be said is congratulations to Michael Blade. He's celebrating 3 years of sobriety. I think that's a big deal.
Congratulations, Mike. That's terrific.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Good for you. All right, I want to zoom out a little bit because it's hard for me to just keep this thing in here. When I solder, I'll zoom back in. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tin let's make sure the wires are tinned. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Rat says, well, it well be may well be, I think, or he wants you to check the module because he says Crossfire are black and Tracers are black and white.
Well, this was a nano module, and I got the conversion kit for it. So basically, the only thing different about this and the black nano module that I had is the outside. The inside is the same. So I know this is a Crossfire module. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
To you, Carlos? Yeah. I expected it to be black, but they sent a white one, but that doesn't matter. That's just the plastic cover. The module itself is black.
I do ebony and ivory. I'm good with that.
It's a black module, yeah. And it's the same guts. You just take it out of the nano case and put it in in the bigger case, because we got the wrong one. That was number one. It was my mistake, but number two, there wasn't a Crossfire Micro TX starter kit to be found on the planet Earth, and I'm lucky I found one of the nano ones. Now Carlos could have used the nano one in his X-Lite, but since he had decided he wanted to use the
QX.
Tyrannus radio for this, we went ahead and put it in this case. Now, you can always swap it back in the other case if you want, so you got that option. But thank you, Rat, for picking that out. That's something that I would have noticed, because I haven't done any research into the tracers yet and have no idea what color the cases are. All right, so we want to solder these on here.
Next comment is, as you're doing your thing, Mihap says, I heard someone fuss about losing link on Crossfire with more than 5 people up.
Yeah,
on
and
Crossfire.
that, you know, I haven't ever been out flying when there's been any more than me on it. It might have happened to somebody, but considering the number of people that use Crossfire and how many of them use it at races, I think that might have been a rare occasion. I mean, they've been using Crossfire for years. R9 is a 900 megahertz thing. I've been using that since the beginning. I've never had a failsafe, never had a low RSSI, never had a problem at all. So,
Michael Blade is,
I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Michael Blade is also suffering from part shortage.
Can you
Parts
turn your
shortage. Parts shortage. He's
there you go. Thank you. I'm having a hard time hearing you, and I don't know if it was.
I'm sorry.
No. That's
It's
right.
me.
I don't know you stick that microphone up in your hair, and then
I go up
we
and
can't-
down with it sometimes.
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's see if I
Drone
can.
bump failsafe today. What did you failsafe with? The
Well, he's fail-safing with a Crossfire, but that's almost inconceivable unless you got something wrong. At the close ranges that you fly, with a radio that's supposed to go for 10 miles without problems, I couldn't. I don't know what could be wrong with that. It may be something completely unrelated.
it's probably because he wasn't flying with me.
Maybe, or maybe he's got the antenna on his
Crossfire, huh?
module isn't correct, or something. All right, I'm gonna tin these pads.
Were you behind something? Man, look a little. Or something in between you and the bird, I should say.
Can you see the soldering here?
Oh yeah.
See how I use that little chisel tip to get right down in that
Put on
tiny
the
little
pad
hole?
and then you. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so what we have here is
Looks
we have black. I'll start at the top. We have yellow on this end.
Fell out of the sky. About a quarter mile away.
We have white. Now this thing is moving around way too much. I think it's loose or something.
At the water tower. You should have told me. I would have met you there. Not. That sucks. The opposite side of the water tower, drone bum.
There we go. Probably should have soldered them before I twisted them, but we'll live. And the next one would be the battery, the voltage.
Just joined by Fly Zone Drone, quadcopters.
Good evening. How you doing? And the ground on the end.
Behind the tower. That would make sense. I guess, if anything. But where were you opposed? I mean, as compared to the tower, you weren't on the corner there? Where we flew from last time?
Okay.
Looks clean.
It looks good, yeah. So that's that. And then we'll go ahead and put the antenna on it.
You're out of screen, just for the record. No, you're good. That just clips on. That's it.
That's it. But then you, I hate these little connectors. And it snaps on, and then you put a piece of heat shrink over it.
CFL, right? They call that something like that.
Micro CFL.
Micro CFL.
Yeah. Then you want to put a piece of heat shrink out over it, and that kind of holds it in. And you want to make sure you put it in a place in the drone where
Got it.
Where this wire is not really tugging on it.
We don't see anything, just for the record.
What's that?
You're not showing us anything.
Okay.
At this point.
Well, that's no good.
That's good.
There you go. So let's put the heat shrink on over the connector.
That comes with it?
Yeah.
Oh,
we'll give you a piece of heat shrink.
And your $14 blow dryer.
Get my blow job gun here.
Uh-oh. You're blowing out a screen. UFL? UFL? I don't know. Could be. UFLs.
There you go. We have a receiver.
Nice.
And yeah, that's not going anywhere. Okay, so now we need to solder the receiver, and we're just going to have all this stuff flopping around for the time being. But the receiver is probably
out of screen. You might want to come back up.
What I go through so that you guys can see what we're doing here. But tell me, yeah, you should tell me. Now, on my Acrobrat right here, I have the receiver way in the back, I think. It's hard to see anything in there. Yeah, I got it way in the back here because we're going to mount the T antenna on the back of this like I did here, and then I had the receiver here in this area because in this area is going to be the VTX. So this will actually just probably wrap around like this and sit right in here, and then we got to make sure that somehow the stress is off the cable. But for the time being, I'm just going to hook it up so that we can get this thing set up.
I don't know if he was here before, but Minnesota Paul's in the house.
Hi, Paul. How are you? So I think I'm going to, let's see, if I look at the wiring diagram of this thing over here.
Our friend Love My Drones is backstage.
Oh, okay. See, he's appropriately attired for the night, unlike some people.
I forgot all about that now that you mention it. What's up, Ed?
Let's see. Here, I'll let you guys see each other for a little while. So, how you doing, Ed?
All right, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. What I'm doing
You got the ring I had yesterday.
Yeah, it's gone now, finally. This is the orientation of the flight controller, and the receiver ports are all on this side. Okay. So so the receiver ports are on this side.
Ed, can you do me a favor while
right here.
Mitch is in the middle? Can you put that unlimited vertical video up for people to see later? Let the bodies hit the floor with your little...
That's hilarious. I love that, man. I can't...
Did you see that, Mitch?
I'm sorry?
Did you see the video that Unlimited Vertical put out with Ed?
I don't think so.
Oh, you got to watch this. Next
I got
next time you get a chance, I'll
trust,
send you a
trust me,
link.
guys. You want me to, Carlos? You want me to concentrate on what I'm doing now and not watch videos?
No, not now.
Or your flight, or your quad's going to fly upside down.
Well, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I need to decide where and how I want to run these wires to the receiver. I think that I could come in. I want to be careful because I got a battery strap run across the top, and I don't want that hitting any of these wires. So I think I'll come in around this screw and in the back with the receiver like this. So what we need to do is we need to cut it about this short. And strip them. Can you see what I'm doing here, Carlos?
Yes, yes. Fly zone, that's an Acrobrat frame.
And
3
interesting
inch.
enough, I saw a video today by Tommy, who designed this thing, and they said that this thing was specifically designed for the dual cameras, which is why it's got that big, tall front end on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So how convenient.
Yeah. Good to know.
And we've got, voila. Okay. And now we will tin them.
It's going to be analog, Michael Blade, but it's going to have a DVR. The Runcam Hybrid 2. Yes, this is my drone, 863, Justin. Or it will be. Well, possession is 9/10 of the law, so at this point.
Yeah. it's yours. And
Actually,
and as long
Mitch,
as-
I'm hoping that you do a long-range test as well as, I'd like for you to fly from where I was, where I lost the schizo, towards that water.
Oh,
Can you do that for me?
Yeah, I'll do that. I do that with all of my.
I do that with all of my
quads.
drones. You hear him,
I
Ed?
never-
Rubbing it in. Thanks, Mitch.
Hey, what are friends for, man? If not to rub it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what drives me
I
crazy
still
about that
don't-
whole incident, Mitch, is that he flew much further away from the first spot than he was when he did the last day when he failed safe.
Except that corner of that field happens to be jinxed for 2.4.
Because of the neighborhood.
Whatever, I think so. And I didn't notice you were flying down there, and I probably should have told you guys. And if we ever go out and do fly there again, I'm going to tell guys to stay well away from that corner of the field, and then you won't have any problems. Okay.
This
now
does,
the only
the DVR
the only
going
tough-
in does do 4K, right? Michael Blade wanted to ask.
4K 4K
30? Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, what I want to do is, I know I got this up on the screen, but they actually also give you the instructions. Christ, I can't get the damn thing out of here.
Tweezers.
In here is the actual wiring diagram, which would probably be more helpful than turning around and looking at that computer screen all the time. They say when there's a 50-50 chance of choosing the wrong thing, you'll choose the wrong thing 90% of the time. And I just proved that. I had 2 pieces of paper in here, and I, of course, picked the wrong one. All right, here we go. So this is the way it's setting with the USB port on this side.
Yes, that was the idea, Michael Blade, avoiding the GoPro.
And the receiver comes in right along in here. And the first pin is a 3-volt pin, which we don't need, but some receivers do need 3 volts. The next pin is a 5-volt. That's where the red will go. And then black is the white, and then we'll sort out the TX and RX. We'll cross-reference that one more time. So it means I need to solder these 4, starting with the second one. Need to tin them up.
Oh,
The only disadvantage with this is you don't get that digital FPV view, but that's okay.
man, I don't even want to see digital FPV.
No, you don't, because you will be ruined after that.
I know. That's what I'm afraid of.
Okay, so
I flew drone
first
boats. It's
one-
nice. And yours,
first one
actually.
is 5 volts. 5 volts to the first pad. 5 volts to the first pad. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit. But remind me to zoom back out again, okay?
I'll get you.
All right, there we go. This is the solder cam. So we want 5 volts to the first pad. We want ground to the second pad.
I guess the aerodynamics are affected a little bit, Justin, but definitely the weight. Less weight.
You know what? I don't want to do it this way, Carlos.
Change your
Not
mind.
what I decided. No, I decided to come in from the back.
Go across.
I decided to come in from the back and then come out, so the wires don't have to stick out the side of the quad. That's why. So looking this way, flip the diagram around. The ground is the first. The 5 volts is the first one, which is here. Am I in the screen?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Not?
No.
There we go.
Okay.
There we are.
I was reading Michael Blade's comment. He's already put in enough money. He's not going to put any money more into digital. He's analog at this point.
Well, a lot of guys are doing that now. And sooner or later, when it comes time to buy new goggles or new equipment, they might make the change. Okay, so now I have to make sure I do the right way. So what I've got here, connected to the channel 2, is going to RX1, which is the next to the pad. Channel 2, I have a white wire hooked to. So the white wire goes first. God, this.
There should be an anti-skid on that blue thing.
Well, no, it's not that. It's this thing is rocking on those grommets, you see?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It spins around like a merry-go-round.
Put it on a towel?
Hanger tape.
There's the white.
You say painter's tape? Masking tape?
Yeah, not masking tape, hanger tape to hold it down.
Blue one?
Here's the thing. You take this gummy shit, just stick it under one
Gummy
leg.
shit.
Yeah.
That's the
Stick it under
technical
That's a
something.
technical term, I take it.
Exactly.
I think they call it blue tack. It's designed, you can stick crap in with it. You can transfer ink with it. You can do all kinds of things with that stuff.
Like Play-Doh.
Yeah, kind of.
It's definitely a learning experience, Michael Blade. Blue
I
tack.
believe
Okay.
Mitch has his iron set at 400 degrees.
400 degrees centigrade. Okay, so there is the receiver. And now, I think would be a good time to bring the whole thing over to the other side and get the receiver to work. So now we're going to have to deal with the crossfire stuff. So let me get you guys back into the picture here. Here we go. And let me
It's fancy silly putty, that's right.
get me back. And
Sunrise Waters is in the house. Hello, Chris.
so now I need this, and since I soldered something to the board before I plug it in again, I'm going to use a smoke stopper. Anytime I solder anything, before the first time I plug it in, I use a smoke stopper. So let's make sure that it doesn't. And I have a blinking green light on the receiver, and that means on a crossfire receiver that it is waiting to bind.
Ooh.
Okay? And since it's a brand new receiver, it's going to wait to bind. So what we got to do now, take my radio, get rid of my Crossfire module, plug in Carlos's Crossfire module.
This is a learning moment.
Okay. There you are. There's your module. Okay. I need to plug the quad into Betaflight. So we're going to go to here. And we're going to open Betaflight. And we're going to plug the quad in. I really don't
Can you explain why we're going to Betaflight before you bound the receiver to the radio?
Well, don't have to, but I want to go into Betaflight so I can see if the receiver is working. And
I
in order
got
to
you.
see
So
if the
you're being
receiver's working,
proactive.
right, I'm going into Betaflight. I'm going to connect. I'm going to go into the ports tab, and I need to find out what port that receiver is connected to. The receiver port is Crossfire connected to RX1. Okay, so RX1 is a serial-based receiver, and it's connected to UART1. And then in configuration, I need to make sure that this says that it's a serial-based receiver, Crossfire. Okay, and
What type? That's configuration, right? Okay.
yeah, ports UART1 is set to the receiver. And that was RX and TX1. So unless I'm missing something, none of these other things say Crossfire on them. So it's got to be the serial-based receiver. I'm pretty sure it is. So now we are set up in Betaflight for that. And the receiver is blinking. And the receiver is getting powered from the flight controller, from the USB, which is nice because I don't have to plug in a battery. But I'm going to unplug that right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to minimize Betaflight. I'm going to open up TBS Agent X because this is the first time. And I'm going to do this through Agent X. And
Quick hello to Mr. Bob Casey Ariels, a.k.a. Smiley
I'm going to
Face.
skip this.
Smiley
Okay.
face.
He was smiling the whole time I saw him.
I'm going to turn on the transmitter.
Welcome to OpenTX. Throttle warning.
And make sure that I have a setting on my transmitter that's set to Crossfire. Model select. Crossfire. There it is. Select model. I have a yellow light on the back. See it? Blinking yellow light. That means that's what it's not bound to anything, but it is powered. So we are okay. We are okay there. Now, I think I probably need to log in here. I'm trying to think what my... What happened? Went away. Come back. Okay. So now I'm logged in. Loading TBS Cloud profile. Plug your device into a USB port. So I'm going to take the radio and I'm going to plug the USB into the port on the Crossfire module.
That's standard USB size?
USB-C.
C, okay.
Okay, so now it shows me micro TX and Wi-Fi, because this module's got Wi-Fi, but I want the micro TX settings. Okay, I want to make sure the failsafe is set. I want to go to firmware and see what versions of the firmware it's got. It's got the latest version of the firmware, so I don't need to update that. Okay, I'm going to set it to 500 milliwatts for you.
That's the
With
top.
dynamic, no, 1,000 is the top, but 500 is plenty. With dynamic power on, most of the time you're running at 10, 20 milliwatts, maybe 100 tops.
Are you sure?
But this was. I run mine. I think I run mine most of the time at 100 milliwatts, Carlos. So
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I'm sure. Okay.
Remember,
the
I'm a city
frequency-
boy. I have city stuff
The
around me.
frequency is 915, not the 865 that it was set to. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to set to that. Now, where's the button that says save? Is there any button that says save? I don't see any button that says save. I don't use this too often. Device, unless it just sets the settings. General, 915, okay. My VTX. You don't have a VTX in the quad. There's the firmware and everything. Device, okay. So let's get out of it just for fun.
Hello, Jay
Unplug
Bird.
it. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to plug it back in. Finds it. I'm going to go to settings, general, and it did. Remembered all the settings. 500 milliwatts, dynamic power, 915 normal, open. Okay, so I know that works. Now what I'm going to do, while I have this thing plugged into the computer, I'm going to turn the quad. I'm going to plug the quad into a battery. Okay.
So let me ask a question real quick.
Yeah.
So do you have the TBS set to 500 milliwatts?
Yeah,
What-
but it has dynamic power. That means that if the RSSI is high, it'll lower the power. It'll only give it as
gotcha.
much power as it needs. So until you
Gotcha.
get the thing 5 miles away, it'll probably never open it up to 500 milliwatts or 1 full watt. But
My next question would be, what does the average radio put out, like a FR Sky or something?
maybe 100.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 100 milliwatts is what most of these transmitters, if I'm not mistaken. 200 maybe. All right, I'm going to plug in this thing and power up the receiver now. And I want to see if it found a receiver, if I can actually do it through here. Bind. Update micro TX. So it bound to the receiver, and now I'm updating the firmware on the receiver. Carlos, how simple is that?
That's beautiful.
You
Does
have
it by
your mic
itself
on.
right there.
Yeah, exactly. It says, it tells you that you go into the transmitter, it says you hit the bind button, it finds the receiver, it binds the receiver, and now it's updating the firmware in the receiver, and then we have a receiver. And if I don't have the RX and TX wires reversed, it'll work. I did it the way the picture showed, but there's never any guarantee.
Is there
So-
a way to reverse those in Beta Flight?
No, those are TX and RX hardware wires. The only way to reverse those is with a soldering iron. Eh?
I got you. Okay, just a question.
Is there a 750 milliwatt setting, or it's from 5
There's
to 1?
No,
Okay.
It goes from 500 to 1. Because if you get to the point where you're at 500, it's not enough. You need 1. It's not a 500 milliwatts doesn't get you twice the distance. It takes 4 times the power to go twice the distance.
Yep.
Okay, it's like to the inverse square. It's like 100 milliwatts is not 10 times as much distance as 10 milliwatts.
It works the same way with VTXs too, actually.
Yep. RX is loading. Don't interrupt, it says. The RX is flashing away like crazy. It's nice to see these things flash like that because it tells you the transmitter is flashing green right now.
Stuff is working.
And now it's done. So the transmitter has a solid, I don't know if you can see it. The transmitter has a solid green light. The receiver has a solid green light. So I'm going to
What's the
unplug
wire hooked to the bottom of your radio, Mitt?
the transmitter.
Yeah.
That's plugging the TBS transmitter module into the computer where I'm running the Agent
Okay,
X software.
So that's how the transmitter is able to give the RX the update.
Right. Now, I can also do this with what's called a Lua script on the transmitter. and do all the same functions. But it's so automatic using this Agent X software. You just plug the USB port in, and then the computer controls everything, the communication between the receiver, the binding, the updating of the firmware, the whole 9 yards. You saw I did it with 2 clicks of the mouse. So I'm going to unplug the computer from the radio, and now I'm left with a radio with a solid green light and a receiver with a solid green light. So at this point, I'm going to plug the quad into Betaflight again, okay? And we're going to see if I have a receiver. So let's get Betaflight back up. Let's connect to the quad. Let's go to the receiver tab, and let's move some sticks. Okay, so the receiver's working, but it's set to the wrong protocol. It's set to AETR, and I need for my radio TAER. TAER. Now you notice down here at the bottom, this little quad is spinning around because that's what the quad thinks the controls are right now. But when I go TAER and hit save, the quad now stops rolling. And my roll is on the right channel, and my pitch is on the right channel, and my yaw is on the right channel, and my throttle, and my arming is aux 1, and my modes are aux 2, and your switches, it doesn't matter where they are, Carlos, if your mode switch changes channel 2, this is what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
My beeper switch is on channel 3, my turtle mode switch is there. So everything should be set up, and if not, when you get it, so when Carlos gets this, he'll be able to just plug this module in, make one change on the radio to tell it it's a Crossfire module, and should be all configured and ready to fly.
You just got to tell the radio, like you said, external receiver, and set up a Crossfire
Yep. So
model.
So the receiver is working and bound, and that's step 1 of what we need to do tonight. So let's turn off the transmitter.
Receiver still connected.
I know.
Michael Blade, you ever look into the X-Lite? That's a small controller, other than the TBS Tango.
Michael Blake has got a Tango 2 on the way. He's ready to go Crossfire.
Okay. So we now have that. So I can put away, I need the Mamba stack instructions yet, but I don't need the Crossfire stuff. So let's see what we got here. We got okay, so now that I have the receiver on, I want to mount the VTX on this thing. Okay, and the VTX is this right here. This is the Rush Tank Mini.
You did use mine, that's right, Mike. Fits in your hand well. X-Lite, love for me.
Okay. Obligatory decals.
Save them for my headset, my goggles.
Man, I don't want to go 95 miles an hour. I'd break something, Mike.
Well, didn't you show us what you did already?
What?
I want Ed show us his limp.
Oh, Ed, I thought you said
3-inch.
for me to show you. I haven't done anything.
No.
I'm drinking some water. It's hot in here. All right, guys. So what we got here is we have two 20 millimeter stacks, one on the front, one in the back. The one in the front of the quad up here is where the camera board's going for the DVR. The one on the back of the quad is where we're going to mount this little thing, and we're going to put it probably right underneath these wires and screw it right in here to the
It has
to the
holes
frame.
on it? Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yes, it
Yep,
has
I
holes.
see it now.
Yeah. And it has it also has a plastic case, And what I'm going to do, because it's got metal stuff on the bottom, is I'm going to put it in this way. I'm going to remove it. It comes with this this metal little label on here, but that covers up cooling holes, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, so you're going to have to live without that. But it does say Rush on the top of this thing. Why they put that on the top of this, I'm sure a lot of people are leaving it on, and it's covering up all the cooling holes. And right now I got to take it off. It'll be held on by the screws, but right now I got to pop it off of there in order to solder all the stuff onto this board. So let's...
You know, it's not bad to have a second radio there, Michael Blade. Backup.
Okay.
That wasn't your finger that just shot. Okay.
No, it was the VTX that shot across. So this is the VTX board. Nice looking little board. It's got the MMX connector on the back. We're going to use this little Rush cherry antenna. They give you a little dipole with it, so we don't need that. That'd be a spare for you to have, Carlos, for something else if you need a replacement antenna. So I'll stick it in your box full of spare shit.
Goodies. Thanks.
Okay. And get a little wire, and the VTX gets hooked to. VTX gets hooked to. Right in the gets hooked to these pads that are behind the pads that I just soldered to. So I have to kind of temporarily bend these up. That I'm not happy about that.
Uh-oh.
I should have done that first. Put the ones in the back first, and then put the ones over the top of them. Because all of these pads along that whole row are VXT, smart audio, ground 5 volts, camera ground and 5 volts. So every one of those pads is going to be used, and these wires are in the way. So even though the receiver is all done, it only takes 10 seconds to solder and resolder these things, and I'm going to do just that. I'm going to take them off, and we'll put them back on when I'm done. There you go. You used to have a receiver on this thing, Carlos. Now you don't.
Not anymore.
Okay.
IJ, Hydrone 69 FPV just joined.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to tin up all those pads.
Hola, Jay.
I
Bunch of
think,
clowns,
interestingly
bunch of-
enough, everything on this flight controller is going to be connected to this side. I don't think anything gets connected over any of these other places. Okay. We got receiver, camera, and VTX. That's all we
All
need
on
to
that
hook
one
up.
side, huh?
All right along that one side. So the VTX, let me strip these wires. It's going to go back here, and it's got to come up and
it's
into
an-
there, which
It's an Acrobrat,
should fit.
Jay.
And the ones in the front are the camera, and the ones in the back. So the ones, it's just backwards. No, it's not. This is the front of the quad. So this is the camera, and the VTX is in the back. Very good. That's the way it should be. This quad is so hard to tell the front from the back. I was thinking it was the other way around when I was sitting here, but the front is facing me.
Isn't
So let's.
the XT30 kind of a giveaway? That's
What's
the back.
that?
Isn't it?
Yeah, but I wasn't looking closely
Oh,
at that,
okay.
Carlos. I was deep in thought here. It's nice. At least it's all nice silicone wire. I like that. You can't melt this stuff with a soldering iron.
I've gotten close.
Really? You got silicone wire hot enough to melt you? That's
Oh,
why
that's
this pad
it.
is silicone. You know, you can't melt it. You can't melt it. All right, let's do a little tinning of this thing.
I'm gonna try that one, Justin. See if I don't get punched in the face.
Try what? Try what?
You don't want to know. Hitting on a mom and daughter.
Oh, mother-daughter act, huh?
But I'll represent myself as a Verizon representative. Let them know I do a
That'll
family
work.
plan.
Yeah. How do you say? How do you like me now? Okay. All right. So back to the wiring diagram, and we've got starting from the back, which is this side. The rearmost pin is the video. That would be the yellow.
Hey,
So
Ed, are you there?
I'm here.
You see what J Drone, Hydrone, Roshi, AKA?
Yes, I did. And I
You
know
guys
he
just-
went somewhere by boat and did a bando. I saw the video. I haven't watched.
Are you guys misbehaving yourselves?
No,
No,
he's
we're
saying
Okay.
he wants to
kind
go
of
fly
filling
one.
in.
Remember this, Carlos? The white wire is smart audio.
Got it.
Just remember, the white wire, is smart audio. Of course, they stuck
And
it.
yellow is almost always video
Yeah.
too.
It is. Yeah, I always use yellow for video. So there's your smart audio. And then the next one is the ground, which is this one here. Let me get the red one in there first, which is this one right here.
So there's a difference between ground and video ground. I mean, I thought ground was ground.
It is. But you have ground on the flight controller. Ground is ground. But this what they do is they put a ground pad in with a group of video transmitter pads. Then they put another ground pad in with a camera group of pads, so that you have a pad available to solder the wire that's coming from whatever you're soldering. But
So you don't have
electrically,
to have multiple wires under
you don't.
one.
Yeah, you don't. If you can help it, you don't ever want to solder more than one wire to a pad. Guys do it all the time, but that's where it gets tall, and you start to, get the potential of a short circuit, leaning over to touching something next to it.
And it's a pain in the butt too.
It is. It is. Sometimes you got to do it. If you're building a quad that's got just everything on it, and you just run out of pads, sometimes it's better to just twist two wires together, solder, wire them off to a single wire, put a little heat shrink tape around it, and then hook the single wire to the flight controller, so you don't have both wires going to the flight controller.
Hey, Mitch, is black wire typically ground?
Yes,
Okay.
except in house wiring. In house wiring, black is usually the hot. It'll tell you what is
it's
black.
hot.
Yeah, the black wire is the hot wire. That's black is death, is the way they remember it.
Man,
Right
I've
there.
gotten the crap knocked out of me from people that thought they knew electricity and did something at a house or whatever, and they thought black wire was ground.
No, green is ground and white is neutral. And usually neutral and ground are tied together, but it still gets real confusing, This is a pain in the ass because of that brick of a, whatever it is, capacitor sitting in front of it.
Nothing you can't handle.
Yeah, I know, but I can't. I'm covering my light and I'm having a hard time seeing it. Let me put a little more solder on that connection. Right here in front of that capacitor or whatever it is. Plus, it's a ground lead. It's just soaking up heat.
Yeah,
And yet
that's an important consideration because that ground tab runs to all the grounds on the flight controller, so that heat
And-
just goes out.
It just goes away, and the solder doesn't. It takes a lot more heat to make the solder on the ground tab flow.
Did you just see that blinking screen? Screen went black for a second.
What? Oh, that's my overhead camera. It does that every once in a while. Okay. Got those, and now these need to go to the VTX. So let's take a look at the VTX here. And this has got this stuff all labeled on the bottom. Is there room in this plastic for those wires to come out on the top? That goes on this way.
And
No.
to me, that's the hardest part of a bill like this is not necessarily soldering the wires, but figuring out where to place the stuff.
And if it was up to me, how in love with this plastic cap are you, Carlos?
Do you think it's necessary? I don't know.
It's plastic. No,
I
it
did
serves
it.
no. It's just cosmetic,
melt.
and it stops cooling. The thing is
Oh,
going to
well,
cool much better if the VTX just sitting there
And that gets hot too.
with the air running over it than if it's got the plastic case on it. So
You can't see it with the top plate on anyway.
right. If it was mine, I'd leave the stupid plastic case on.
I'd leave it off too.
In fact,
There
I'm
you
going to
go.
take the stupid plastic case and put it in your box of spare parts, Carlos.
Yeah, you can put it on when you get.
You can put it on if you decide you really. Plus, there's not just a ton of room under there anyway, and I want to put a little rubber O-ring to get this thing up off the. I want to make sure that it's up off the. I'm also going to put a piece of Capon tape, I think, across the bottom, because it sure looks like there's plenty of open raw connections that would short. You know, stacks are made to be stuck up on some kind of a standoff, but I don't have a ton of room. Although, yeah,
Mitch,
this
Not
is-
that
have a-
need
you have
it,
a
but
magnifying
you
glass.
have
this is
my-
going in the back here. Yeah, there's enough room to put a couple of washers under it once I get the wires soldered to it. So let's get
Mitch,
and
you
the
have a
two little
magnifying
buttons-
glass with a light, right?
the two little buttons on the side are going to be back in here. You should be able to get to them pretty easy. Now, there's another consideration. Well, we'll get to that with
Wait,
about
buttons
the
on the
camera.
side for what?
For changing your channel or VTX power, but you're going to be doing that all through smart audio.
Yeah.
But you can still get
Nice
to the
to know
buttons
it's
on
there,
this
yeah.
if you have to. Yeah,
Mitch, you do own a magnifying glass.
I do.
The
It's
light, right?
yeah, but it's more work to be trying to look through that thing than it is. I have these things here. These
Oh, that's right.
magnifying
Yeah.
glasses that I can put on if I need to. But I generally still see pretty good for an old fart. I can.
We were just joined by the infamous and ever so popular Adrian Mateo Drones.
Adrian, how you doing, buddy? Good to
Mr.
see you. I'm gonna
DJI
take
himself.
give
What's
me
up,
a
Adrian?
give me a 2-minute break here to have a little water. Who we got in the house here?
Drone 863.
Same crew, pretty much,
Adrian,
Fly
Michael
Zone,
Blade, Fly Zone, Rat. We had a visit from Jay Hydrone, Drone Bone,
Not a huge crowd tonight. Not a big crowd.
Drone Worship. Jay
You
Bird was
got
here,
the
Minnesota
best
Pole.
crowd, Mitch.
We do.
Mike
There may
Kenny.
not be a lot of them, but they are quality people.
Not
All
about
right.
numbers.
So what we got here is we need DC in, ground, SA, and video. So I need to put
Sorry, Carlos,
Ground.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, not at all.
ground, DC, SA, and video. I need the first four pads tinned.
That's right, the 18.
One.
Ed, are you going to pick up your drone and watch so we can see the dangling arms?
Which one did you wreck, Ed?
Baby hawk.
No.
What did you hit?
Really?
Oh, look at that. Wait, a little lower, Ed. A little lower and forward. Oh, yeah.
Lower,
that
lower.
looks like you, Ed. Limp. Poor Ed. That sucks.
Okay. So, did I
you
say?
know who's
I
here now?
said-
Mad Kiwi. He actually did come. You see, I called him
hey,
telepathic.
Greg, how you doing, buddy?
Bloody
Let's see.
Yorker.
I said hello to you about 20 minutes ago, Mad Kiwi. I saw Mike Kenny's name and I called him Mad Kiwi. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mitch.
He's
Hold
thinking.
on a second here. Okay, so we have ground, DC, smart audio, and video. Okay, so that'll be
Ed is nothing.
video will
without
be the
caution.
first one. So yellow will go to the first one. Can you see what am I in the picture?
You're in the picture, but you're kind of far away.
You could zoom in
As
if
far
you'd
as
like.
zoom in, you should zoom in a little bit because
2 taps.
All right.
Perfect.
There
Right
we
there.
go.
Right there.
Okay, so we want to go the video on the first one. Like to puddle a little more solder on those.
I like to see
you
that
make
pyramid.
very nice puddles, by the way.
They're like little pyramids.
Yeah, mine never looked that good.
See, that N1 is the ground, man. I can hardly melt the damn thing. It's unbelievable how much heat these ground pads soak up.
Yeah, and it's hard. I never really thought about that until you said something about it.
All right.
But it makes sense.
So I said the first one was video. So the yellow goes to this one here. And
My
the
hand would
next
be
one
shaking.
is smart audio. And what
Yeah,
color did
white.
I say smart audio was, Carlos?
White,
This is your pop.
white.
There you go. Good memory. Your chance to shine. So here we have smart audio.
Ed has
And
no
the
idea
next
of what
one-
cautious flying is, Justin.
The next one is DC in 5 volts.
Justin writes, Ed is what you call a manufacturer's wet dream. I like that.
That's funny.
Good one, Justin.
I will tell everybody it's just like flying. This soldering crap, practice makes perfect. Of course, Mitch has been doing it for like 200 years now, but
Well, he
Yes,
used to
sir.
put his soldering iron in the fire to heat it up.
Yeah.
yeah, you use the metal rod and
Well, that's true. I mean, I don't hide from the truth. Okay, so what we got here is the VTX. The antenna is on the back. The wires have to be on this side, so they got to tuck under here. And God, I'll tell you what, they
okay,
did put
zoom
the
out a
holes.
little bit.
Out of
Mitch.
screen.
They did put the holes kind of close to the front here, because this is. I'm on the wrong side of the friggin' quad again.
You want to be in the back, right?
The VTX goes in the back, so this has got to slide under here. Yeah, that'll work. And as long as these terminals here don't come butt up against the underside of the battery terminal, and they're getting awful close. So I think you know what I'm going to do, Carlos.
I'm
Instead
listening.
of screwing this down back here, I'm going to stick it down.
Double stick tape.
Yep. Now these double stick, and that'll let me move it back a little bit, which is desirable. It's not going to short against anything. So let me go get a pad. Hold on. Entertain them.
It just seems like the sticky tape would kind of like
Lose its stickiness.
not allow proper heat dissipation.
Yeah. Hey Ed, how exactly did you do that to the arms? You hit something?
Look, man, I don't know. I think that the frame was already compromised from other crashes, and because it literally just dropped from the sky, and it wasn't a fail-safe. I haven't looked at the footy yet. I'm just telling you, it's not because I hit something. I might have hit something 2 days ago and fractured the arm and not noticed it, but it was flying fine. And then all of a sudden, man, it just went wonky. I think there was a fracture in one of the arms, and I goosed it a little bit too much, and it came unglued.
That's possible.
You mean you just flew it so fast that you made it fall apart?
I flew it apart, yes!
He did. He did. He ripped it apart, as what would be appropriate to say. Now, I don't have to be this anally neat with this, Carlos.
Yeah, you do. I like it.
But it's your quad, so.
I know you can't help it anyway.
So I'm making the pad.
It's just your nature. It's just your nature.
And I'm going to tell you something. These 3M pads, people say, I mean, I think the screws would give before this would.
No, I mean, I'm with you, man.
But
I just
Ed
like
was saying
the
about
idea
the
of-
heat dissipation. Should you put some needle holes in the 3M tape to let the air go in?
No, because there's no venting really on the bottom.
Okay.
You're gonna get plenty of heat coming off the top. This is gonna be fine. Needle holes in this pad wouldn't matter, wouldn't do shit. So this is gonna go right on there like that.
Out of screen. There you go.
Okay, and then I'm gonna pull the adhesive.
All right, make it good.
Lift up its tail and
Shut up, Carlos.
It's a one-stick time, one-stick try.
Yeah, well, what I do is I just let it just touch and find the place, make sure it looks good and perfectly straight for you. Move it back just a little so it doesn't get in the way. Let me take a look at that side plate. That side plate has to clear it. The grommet and arm have to clear it. I don't want to stick it down and then not have this clear it. They do? Perfect. Okay. So that perfect. Well, not perfect.
If he says so himself. I think the right side front was sticking out a little bit.
Look
Yeah.
No, right
there it is.
got
That's it.
Yeah.
Right there. Okay.
Right side front was just overhanging a little bit. I just saw it. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, does the
rough crowd?
Does the phrase anal mean anything to you guys?
Well, now that you mention it, no.
All right. So that's the VTX on there, and let's do this just for fun here. Let's take and pop an antenna on it, because you don't want to fire these things up without an antenna. So we got an antenna. Let's get our smoke stopper and see if little lights come on. What do you think?
I think it sounds like a plan, especially with the smoke stopper.
Whoa, did you see that? Look at them blinking and flashing. Did you see them blinking and flashing?
I did.
Right there. Yes, sir. All right, so we have power. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out the
camera time.
It's time for the
DVR.
What am I looking for? I'm looking for this. Yeah, for this. Here I am. For this little monitor.
Ah,
I'm
get a
gonna,
picture.
I want to make sure
The
that
good old
it's
FHD monitor.
actually broadcasting. So let me take a second here. I'll let you guys watch what I'm doing here. I'm setting up. Can you see what
Mitch,
I'm doing?
I see
Mitch
the back of your
don't
head.
need that smoke stopper. He just uses it for drama.
You heard Mitch, right? I see the back of your head.
Okay. Oh, you can't see what I'm.
You're the wrong screen, wrong
It's
camera, rather.
no, the camera
Oh, you
froze up.
froze?
No, the
Yeah,
camera
you're
froze.
froze.
Ah, stupid camera. All right. We'll go back to this one. Well, I could probably do this. Well, nah, you guys don't need to see this. I just need to see that it's working. So let me turn this on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to test the smart audio. I'm going to go back over here. I know this seems like a lot of back and forth, but
Needs to be done.
this is what I like to
Keep
check
going, don't
everything.
worry
I like
about
to check it. I like to check it one step at a time. So I'm going back into beta flight here, and I'm going to connect. And I'm going to go, and now at this point, we need a VTX table, okay,
Oh, Lord,
in order
here
for
we
the VTX to work. So I have gone ahead and gotten from the Betaflight wiki, which is this github.com, that's Betaflight, blog, master, docs, VTX, whatever. I have gotten this VTX table right here, and I'm going to cut this, Control C, and I'm going to go back into Betaflight, and I'm
Can
going to
you
go into the
explain what the purpose of this is, Matt, doing all this?
God, it's a long. Yes, I can.
In brief.
But I'm going to paste. While I'm thinking, let me paste the VTX table and hit enter. It'll set the VTX table. I'm going to say save command. And now when I go back in, this will help explain it. Now that I've loaded the parameters in a VTX table, the selective V does not support the factory settings for your bands, but some man to click to fix them. Whoa. Well, that's not right.
That's not good.
It's always worked for me before. Let's see here. Get VTX. What the hell is OSD VTX channel position? 230. That's OSD. VTX low power disarm, VTX frequency.
This is all flight controller information, right?
No, this is yeah, it's all flight controller information. But this is what I just put in there. VTX table parameters. So let's see what it did.
Rat says you
Yeah.
don't need to do this.
VTX. No, you do need to do this. You do
I've
need to
never
do this.
done that. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, well, if you have Betaflight 4 or above, you got if you want to have smart audio control over your VTX, you have to have a VTX table.
I got you. Okay.
So
Thank
Michael
you for
Blez says,
explaining that.
don't you have to download the VTX table from the manufacturer's website?
Yeah, if you find that for me, Michael Blade, would you send me a link? There's basically two types of smart audio. There's IRC Tramp and there's TBS, smart audio. With TBS smart audio, there's three flavors. There's 1.0, 2.0, and 2.1. 1.0 is all the old shit. 2.0 is 99% of them, and 2.1 is for some specialized crap. So I went ahead and got the VTX table for Betaflight 2. For 2.0, and my. Can you still hear me, Carlos?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, okay. Because for some reason, I know what happened. My screen went blank. I was hovering over an icon in the bottom of the screen, and it was waiting for me to pick something. So let's see. What am I looking at here? I want to. Christ. I want to go to this again, and I want to leave it up here. VTX band
Michael
that
Bled
what I have to
says that's
type
what
in here?
happened. That's what I had to do IRC Shrimp because my VTX
Yeah,
wasn't working.
you
I
need
had
to
to
put the
download it.
VTX table in. Yeah, but it didn't. It just for some reason didn't seem to take. I can't find any of those variables. VTX table. It says invalid or something. So this is something you just put in there. It's not. Okay, hang on a second.
So can you delete that and then just try it again?
Well, that's
'Cause
what I wanted to do, but for some reason it just wouldn't let me. I can't seem to find it. Failed to connect the server. What the hell does that mean? Are you with me, guys?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, because I just got an error message. So let me try this again. Try this again. Enter. It didn't copy it. Highlight. Control C. Into here. Control V. Enter. It says VTX bands 5, channels 8, and I type save. That's a standard VTX table. And then I say connect, and I hit VTX.
Well, it looked like it saved at that time. It didn't error out.
But I'm still getting these messages.
Oh, when you come back there, I got
attention. Click. The VTX does support. Click save to fix them. Well, save. I hit save, and then what happens? The VTX is not configured, or so. Okay, so probably I need to plug the power. This is weird. Maybe I need to have the VTX powered up for this to work, but it never did used to have to do that. Power up the VTX here, and disconnect.
At least you figured it out.
Connect
Michael Blade.
again. I still don't get the VTX is not configured or not supported. Oh, I know. Hold on a second. I go in the ports tab and turn TX3. That's probably what it is. I need to turn on peripherals to TBS Smart Audio. Save and reboot. Reconnect. There you go. That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, learn something.
So
Yeah,
it was
you
the
have to
port
tell
3.
Megaflight that you have smart audio.
Yep, you have to. It has to be able to. In order for it to show you a VTX table, it must. And I never had that happen before because I guess I've always configured all my ports tabs first. I never had this happen because I always set up all the ports tabs before I do anything else, and I didn't this time.
It's a live build, Mitch. That's what happens during a live build.
Well,
like those
but
live
see,
flies.
I learned something. So now the reason for the VTX tables came about because the VTX, generally, if you're working in smart audio, has 4 power values: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 channel bands. Some channels in some countries aren't allowed. So there's so many different iterations of, for example, is the highest power setting is at 200 milliwatts. It is on a Tiny Whoop, on a Tinyhawk. In this case, it's 800 watts. But when you set that Tinyhawk to 3, you get 200 milliwatts.
Your daughter just joined the stream, by the way, Mitch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Now I'm really going to get no respect. Hiya, baby. It's me, the old guy. Yes, I'm still learning. No, I'm teaching here, man. I already know everything. Everybody, yes, my daughter. Everybody knows that I know everything already. I'm just trying to partake. Occasionally, I learn a little something. So what I was saying is that
She has no problem calling you old. I like that. At your old age.
I am old. I hence my channel name, guys. You know, I don't hide from it. When you set the power mode level to 3, depending on which video transmitter you get, the highest power could be anything. So what the purpose of the VTX tables, it allows you to put a number in there, so that number shows up in your goggles. So when I set, Carlos, when I set this particular VTX to power level 4. It's going to say in the goggles, channel colon a band colon channel colon 800. It's not going to say colon 4 like it used to. It's going to actually give you the real down to earth live value of this.
Number,
and I
yep.
think this one is 25, 200, 500, and 800, if I'm not mistaken. I can also go in here and say I want this. What are we going with? F3, F1? What do you like? Do F3. You can change it because then I can see it. I don't have to change my little meter here. Okay, so we're going to just go lowest power while. Oh no, I want this thing at. I'm going to put 500, but you can change it to 800 later. Okay, no pit mode. No pit mode. Low power disarm on until first arm. You want okay. You know what this means, Carlos? You know what this means? Low power mode. On low power mode is where when you're disarmed, it's in low power.
Down to 25
milliwatts.
I don't heat up.
You have two
everything.
choices. You have two choices. It can go up to the high power setting when you arm and back to the low power setting when you disarm.
I like
Or
that
it can
one.
go to the high power setting when you first arm and stay there until you unplug the battery.
No, low
The
power.
reason for that, think of it, the reason they have that second setting is if you get your quad stuck up in a tree
not
a mile
burning.
away, you don't want it going back to low power. You might never find it again. You want it transmitting at high power so you can still see it. So that's the choice. That's
Is
the
there a
trade-off
different
you
low
have to
power other than 25? You know
well,
what I
there's
mean?
pit mode, but you don't fool with pit. No, it's you have low power is power number 1. So I always leave mine on. I just say,
All right,
you
so
know,
let's see what happens.
when I disarm, I want it to go back to low power so it doesn't burn itself up. So I'm just going to say on. You can always change this. So now I have it's set to Fat Shark 3, 500 milliwatts, and low power disarm. I'm going to hit save. Okay, so that's all saved. And now I'm going to I'm going to plug it in here to the power. And I'm going to go over to this, and we're going to come over here and go to F3. And I don't see anything.
How would you?
All right.
Where's the camera? I mean,
You put
There's no
an
camera, but
antenna on that?
I should see a
OSD.
carrier and I should see an OSD. Oh, I see. This thing is blinking, so it's in pit mode, and I might have to do something to throw it out of pit mode.
You do have an antenna on it, right?
Yes,
Okay, just check.
but there's something I may have to. I'm not going to do it here, Carlos. There's something you got to do to these Rush Minis to get them out of pit mode when you first turn them on, and I don't remember what it is. So
It's
I'm not
not an
going to
OSD
deal with that
thing?
tonight. No.
Okay, a smart audio
it's
thing,
not,
rather?
No, not a
Okay.
problem. It's the fact that that thing was blinking green, and there's either a button or combination of buttons you got to push to take it out of pit mode. And I don't want to. You know, we're already an hour and a half into this thing, and we're nowhere near done, and we're not going to get done at this rate. This is the thing.
Episode number 3. Next
Well,
week.
nah, we're gonna get a certain distance tonight, and then I'm just going to finish it up, and we'll talk about it later.
Yep.
This is very tiring to do these things. I don't know if you realize it, but it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this antenna off of here, and I want to make sure I put this little holder thing on it so we don't lose it. But I have to put the antenna back on because I may be plugging it in and out. Now, I will take the instructions for this VTX are come over here. This is the one you have right here. So it's 25, 200, 500, and 800, which is the way we got it set up. Okay. On
Which
the
one
tank
was it? The Ultimate, you said?
Ultimate Mini.
Ooh.
The Tank Mini. Mini. The Ultimate is the 30 by 30 stack. The Racing doesn't have mounts. It just sticks on, and the Ultimate Mini has the little curved cover, and it's got two buttons.
Power and
And
frequency.
the button, the way it's set up here, the button towards the rear of the quad is the power button, and the button towards the front of the quad. Frequency. To set one-day channels, press and hold the frequency button. Power. To set trans, press and hold the power to switch pit mode. Okay, it may very well be that what I got to do is press and hold the power button. So I'm going to try that, see what happens. I'm going, it's blinking, and I'm going to press and hold the power button. Go back
Mitch,
to
would you
green.
say the power button was towards the front or towards the rear?
Towards the rear of the quad.
Got it.
Whose echo am I picking up there?
Probably Ed's.
I didn't
can't
say
get
a damn thing.
I know.
All right,
just
it's still in pit mode. It says press and hold power to switch pit mode, and I did, and it didn't come out of pit mode. So
And you know
thing
that by the blinking green light.
I know that because I put one of these things in a quad 2 years ago and had the same problem, and it took me hours to figure out, and I figured out how to get it out of pit mode, and I forgot what I did. I can put it into change power mode, but if I press and hold the power button, it never stops blinking. It will change power, however. I wonder if I leave it blink long enough, it'll stop blinking.
Is it powered on by the battery or just the USB?
No, by the battery.
Okay.
press power to set the.
It's just-
Is
it's
that,
just
is
blinking.
that the extent of the extensive documentation? Is that
No,
what-
let's go down the documentation here and thanks for 3 blue LED, 1 red, blah blah blah. VTX status, power table, smart audio. Rush Tank has built-in smart audio, tells you how to move your sticks, and that, my friend, is the extent of the extensive documentation.
I
It
always
doesn't-
have to make fun of the extensive
It
documentation,
doesn't
and that is
say-
actually more extensive than many of the documentation.
I know. I'll tell you what. That's one of the things about this stuff that. So let's try this. Rush Tank pit mode. Oh, Facebook. Oh,
The cesspool.
cesspool.
That's fuck.
Rush Tank, VTX. Stuck in pit mode. Here's how. It's a video. How to get it out of pit mode. Oh, this is the Rush Tank Mini, but this is, the Tiny Tank Mini. I don't want to listen to it. Okay, let's see if we have another option that I don't have to listen to. It's like stuck in pit mode. As you can see, this is a very common problem. The pit mode gets stuck in it. I see the LED blinking, but I can't get it out when I am the motor. When I arm the motor, it's still in pit mode. In smart audio, you can see in the picture I have 3 pit mode sections. Weirdly, I can change. I don't know what PIR is, but I can't come back after the setting. It comes back to powering on. Mine strangely did that. I found I had to change VTX channels and change back with power setting or something different, and then it worked fine. That's crazy. That's not an answer.
No, they got lucky.
Okay, here it is. How to disable this default pit mode. We take power light. Great. So thanks for telling me what a wonderful VTX it is. But you didn't answer my question.
I know there's a few people have been telling me to get a rush
Please
tank.
advise the unlock method. That's not what I want. I have this VT always powers up in pit mode no matter how I set it. What's the solution? I have solved already. Disable smart audio, IRC tramp and beta flight. Set up the frequency manually using the buttons. Enable back smart audio, and it works. Next guy says, didn't work. No matter what I try, it always keeps them. The one thing I release pit mode is a button hold every time when powering up. The power LED's blinking, that's pit mode. Get in smart audio. Get in the smart audio manual. Smart audio manual config. Op mode change into free. Back to the manual and save settings. So this is something you got to do in smart mode.
I was going to say you can't use smart audio with the sticks on the controller.
Well, let me tell you something.
Not
I can't
if
see
you
the picture.
can't
If I
see
have
what
no
you-
picture in the goggles, I can't do anything
Right.
with smart audio.
But I
Exactly.
thought
I
you
was
don't see
just-
numbers at all?
Yeah.
I thought you saw numbers.
I don't
no?
see anything, nothing.
okay,
In pit
got it.
mode, there's almost no signal. Okay, so I did. Yes, it is pit mode. The VTX is in race model. You may change race mode to free mode. Get into smart audio manual. Smart audio manual config. I never saw a smart audio manual, but I will deal with this offline, Carlos. This is just going to take an hour or two
Yeah.
to find the
figure out.
right answer, get it fixed. I've done it before, and we'll
Just
make
can't
it
remember.
happen. So I'm just not going to do it. Not going to.
Well,
do it
I mean, it's like on the freestyle, and I think one other one that when you go into smart audio, it has your power settings, but and also it says pit mode, and I've never clicked on that. But I think pit mode is truly zero power from the VTX.
Yeah, pit mode is designed mostly for people that at races where there's 8 guys flying, and you don't want to turn on with a video signal.
Yeah, in case you want to turn on to
Yeah,
mess
but
with some stuff, but you don't want to put any signal out.
But we never use pit mode in freestyle stuff. I don't know anybody that has. All right, this is the camera here, and
Change screen.
yeah, and I hate to say that this is all I'm going to get done tonight, but I'm not going to. I'm tired, and I don't want to do something wrong
Do
or
it
fool with
comfortably.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
and here's
man.
here's the thing I want to discuss with you for the rest of the time that we have tonight. Now we did accomplish a little something tonight, and maybe somebody learned something, but it's just building these quads. If it's not a part that you've used over and over and over again, and you're intimate with every pin on it, where every wire goes, which happens if you build a lot of the same quad. There's always a lot of research and time spent trying to figure out what they mean and doing things that have no instructions and researching stuff on the forums, because it's just, all things considered, it's a small community compared to like skiers or tennis players or golfers or other communities that have millions and millions of participants, and the information in those communities is much wider spread. Add that to the fact that the manufacturers and the distributors in this community are and retailers are impossible. Don't answer the phone. Impossible to get a hold of. Impossible to get answers from. You try to get an answer. You try to get an answer from one of these Chinese manufacturers of any of these things. Try to get somebody from TBS on the phone. Try to get somebody from. Carlos said he got through to Race Day quads a few times. I've never been able to get anybody to answer the phone over there. And when I send them a question, it's 2 days before I get a reply from their service support department. And if you're trying to build a quad and you have a question and you don't know, all you can do is sit and watch YouTube videos of somebody that figured out how to do it and do it. And not only am I losing interest in this tonight because I'm tired, but it appears that all of our viewers are losing interest too. So the one thing I want to talk to you before I shut this down, Carlos, is the camera, the Runcam Hybrid.
Deciding whether to put it upside down or right
No,
side
no,
up.
no, no.
Oh.
What we have to decide is there's the controls for the DVR are done with the app and the QR code, but there are controls available for the actual video camera. You have, just like on on a lot of these things that come with that little board with the little 5-way switch on it, you know, the joystick or
Yeah,
5 push buttons to set brightness, contrast, saturation.
But you don't do that with the app?
No, the app is only for the DVR camera.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Runcam has a flight controller controlled method of doing it, where you hook this thing up to a UART on the flight control, and then just like smart audio, you actually have a different set of stick commands to change the settings. Nobody does that. Nobody even fools with it. I normally, when I'm putting these things, don't even hook that up. I don't bother with it. It's overly complicated, and you'll never remember how to use it, because it's not like, you know, it took you a while to get used to which stick commands make smart audio work. This is something completely different. And once the camera's set, now what I can do for you, do you have any of those little joysticks that come with the Runcams?
I think I might have one.
All right, I might probably have an extra one, but
I'll look.
I can put a little pigtail on here. And if you want to adjust the camera, you just plug that into the little pigtail and then use the joystick on the menu and the goggles, and it's 1,000% easier. So we're going to do it that way. I just wanted you to know that it's an option, but even the guys on YouTube
the Mobile HD
say don't bother with it.
The Mobile HD, I think, has one. I think.
If it's a Runcam,
Don't you have it, Ed? The little that little flat. I forget what they call that little piece.
Yeah, I've got like 4 of those.
Oh, okay.
And the cool thing with the Center Pro was they actually had a little pigtail coming off of it that you tuck under the frame, where you could plug in one of those keyboards and use it at any time. But once you have the FPV cam set, there's really no reason to fool with it.
no, but you got to set it in the first place, and you have to have a way to set it. So the way to set it is going to be either the little joystick or through the flight controller.
Yeah, through the flight controller sounds a lot more difficult to me.
Well, it's just more complicated, and it's just something else you got to learn that you'll never use and then forget how you did it. I tried it on one once, and I never used it. So
I must say, most of the cameras I've gotten, the FPV cameras, I was fine with them just the way they came.
Yeah, and we'll see when I actually get it fired up and I actually get the VTX out of that stupid pit mode that takes a Chinese fire drill to get it somehow.
And
you saw what I just read there. Guy said, "Here's the fix. It works absolutely." Next guy says, "I tried that. It doesn't work." You know, so this is what you get with these stupid forums.
But you've
And you
done
end
it
up
before,
trying
you
20
said.
it can be done. I mean, there's no doubt that you can do it, but there is a way, and they don't tell you how in the manuals. There's nowhere on any of the product information that tells you anything about that crap. And the only information we have in the FPV community, by and large, is forums and how other guys finally
Previous
figured out how to
users.
make something work. That's why I was so shocked when I saw that Mamba actually put a wiring diagram, a pinout diagram in the package.
No, I was impressed when I saw that.
Yeah, heretofore you always have to go online, and not only can't you find it a lot of times on their sites, you have to actually go into the images on Google search,
That's
where it shows you all
more
the images, and then find a wiring diagram, and then try to figure out if that's the one you're looking for.
That's more documentation than I got with my Center Pro, and that was a whole bird with the gut and the Torsier camera, man.
Listen, that's the state. That's just the state of the hobby. But for me, I like the challenge, but I don't like the challenge in the middle of a live stream. Yeah, because because then I get nervous. or little tense, and I don't want. I want to. I like to do this stuff. I can relax when I know if it takes an hour, it'll take an hour. I'll get. I'll find it, but I don't have to feel like I'm being pushed to
Because
come up
we're
with the
here.
answer.
Right.
Yeah. So at any rate, we did get the. Let's go over what we got tonight. We got the ESC programmed correctly, spinning in the right direction with 48K PWM frequency, so it should be working perfect. We got the receiver, the transmitter module set up. We got it bound to the receiver. Receiver's updated with the latest firmware, and it works, and it moves the things in beta flight, and that's all good. And I just got to tack solder the 4 wires back on. We got the VTX powered up and blinking and working, and that'll be done. So all that's left to really finish this quad electrically is 3 wires to the camera, from the camera to the flight controller board. Physically mount the camera, which is not an exciting thing to see. So I'll probably work on that a while tomorrow, and more than likely finish it up myself, because the rest is just bolting together frames. And then we'll come back on maybe and go over beta, if anybody's interested, go over beta flight house.
Well, not only that, but you can do the maiden flight DVR recording.
Yeah, I'm going to do I'll do a maiden flight video, and maybe I'll also include
DVR
in that
footage.
video a summary of the beta flight stuff. Yeah, and the DVR footage. So all right, we'll leave it at that. But we got your TBS module working. We got most of it done. Got one more little board, the camera mount to mount on the frame, and then it's just a matter of the side plates and the top plate, and tie wrapping things up. So it's sneaking up on it, Carlos. We're almost done, but I'll finish it in the next day or two and show it to you guys when it's all done. Anyway, and with that, I'm going to.
Well, just so you know,
take the rest of the day off.
Rat RH said no one was pushing you, Mitch. Just build the damn thing.
No, Rat. I understand
just so
that.
he knows. I mean,
no,
just
it's
so you
me
know.
pushing. It's me pushing me. It's me. I don't want to be boring on these streams. And when I'm sitting here trying to figure something out, I figure it's got to be boring for anybody watching.
Okay. Can
so
we
that
do
puts
one
pressure
thing?
on me.
Let me hold on, Mitch, because I want you to see it, and maybe we can all see it together. Just give me 1 second. I would like for you to see something, and maybe we could see it together, because it's kind of funny. Hold on, Mitch. I'm gonna put the. Can you? You can play it, right?
It's on your cell phone?
No, it's.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna post a link on the chat, and you can play it. I think. I hope.
Yeah, well, everybody can play it if you do that.
Yeah, but I want to watch it together. I want to see your reaction.
What is it?
It's a video of Ed.
Has it got copyright audio on it?
Yeah, you need to mute it. It won't come out right.
It'll come out.
No, but he can't play.
All right, so you know what? If I tell you what, then guys, do it on your own time. Watch that video. It's actually very entertaining.
It's a panel of you on Adrian's show.
Is that what that is? No.
That's what it starts
how
out.
It starts out.
Oh yeah, that's how it starts out. Yeah.
Okay.
But you gotta watch the actual flight to see the really funny part.
Is this it, Carlos?
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
What the hell is that? You know what you look like? One of those old boxing toys that you used to push the thing and it went.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
No, Rock'em Sock'em had a better jab.
Huh?
Yeah.
And somebody blurred themselves out in the mirror for some reason.
No.
I think that was his girlfriend or something.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody blurred.
Okay, so then he says in it, this is for Ed. And
let
so
the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. What you missed in the beginning, Mitch, is Ed was saying, how do you fly? Well, we were discussing flying to music.
Yeah.
And then Ed said, how would you fly to let the bodies hit the floor? So Unlimited Vertical put this video up. But every now and then you're going to see this little dancing puppet on the top right screen, which was I thought it was pretty cool.
He does. He puts it up there, Mitch, every time the part comes where it says, "Let the bodies hit the floor."
Oh,
Let the bodies.
there you go.
You see him over there dancing?
Yeah, I see him. Yeah, that's funny. All right, we'll watch that. We'll watch that with the music. That's funny. Okay, guys.
Well, thanks again, Mitch, and we'll talk sooner than later.
Okay, Carlos and Ed, thanks for coming in. Thanks
Nice
for
progress, Mitch.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
yeah, it's coming. It's almost done. It's just
And
little.
thank
little,
you for
little
you
tiny
guys
stuff
that
right
came
now.
into the room. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks for showing up on a Sunday night.
a
I know
Monday.
there's probably some other crap
It's
going
Monday,
on
Mitch,
too at
Monday.
the same
You
time.
really are losing
thanks. Let me share something with you guys. With you, just something to share with you. I've always been kind of a nutrition freak and a nut. I've always been a low carb guy and all that stuff. When everybody thought that, like with Atkins, when everybody thought it was fringe lunatic. Meanwhile, they're all poisoning themselves with sugars and grains and getting fat and dying. Okay. So I've always been that way and managed to keep myself, even though I tend to be overweight, in great shape my whole life until last year when COVID came along. And I just gave up and said, the hell with it. I'm old. I'm going to, COVID's here. The world's over. I'm just going to eat whatever I want. And in a period of a year, I gained, 25 pounds and started to feel and act like a sick old man. I mean, everything. So I go in and get my annual physical, and I had a CAT scan because I have some kidney stones we want to deal with. And the thing I read on the CAT scan says mild fatty liver. Okay, now I don't know if you guys know, but half the people in this country now have a fatty liver. It's an early precursor to pre-diabetes and everything else. And that hit me like a ton of bricks, and I said no. And at that point, immediately when I saw that day, I went on back on a low carb diet, and I've lost maybe 15 pounds of what I gained. I have about 10 more to go, but I've been doing a lot of reading of the new stuff and the stuff about intermittent fasting and keto. So I decided that's it. I'm going to put myself on a very strict keto diet, 1 meal a day. I don't know if you ever heard of that. I started it a week ago. So in the past week, I have not eaten more than 1 meal a day. And I've lost a little weight, but I just feel so much better. But I'm still, because of the fact that I'm just getting into ketosis and everything, I've still been dragging a little bit. And tonight I'm dragging. So, but it is working. And I think that anybody that doesn't want to become a sick old man should be researching this stuff on their own. What do you think, Ed? You know about this stuff?
First of all, Carlos has been getting on me forever about eating just 1 meal a day. Hello.
They call that intermittent fasting. Now you can eat. The idea is we're never meant to graze like cows. We're meant to eat, digest, and be done with it. And the 1 meal a day thing is an extension of what they call intermittent fasting, where you only eat between certain hours of the day. You either have a 6 hour, they call it feeding time, or 8 hour feeding time, but after that you don't eat. Because after your body's done digesting food, it can turn its energies to repairing itself and repairing your cells. Whereas if it's always busy digesting food all the time, it doesn't have energy to do the repair work.
That's why I pass out after I eat, because
That's not a true statement. That's in his head, because when he was out with us, he was eating lunch and dinner, and he was
there are always exceptions to this, Carlos. There's always exceptions to it, but I think that this intermittent fasting thing is a more natural idea to the way humans evolved to eat, and so I'm experimenting on myself. I decided that I would do it for I'm going to do it for a month and see what happens, and meanwhile my blood pressure has come back down to where it belongs. I had to go on blood pressure medication.
I think mine is high.
A few days ago, I took my blood pressure and it was too low. So I immediately cut my blood pressure medication in half, and I took it yesterday morning, and it's still too low. My blood pressure this morning was 1/6/65, which is
Wow,
obscene. Yeah,
that is
and
slow.
You're almost
yeah,
dead. No.
so I'm at a point where, even after a short period of time, a couple months of dieting on low carbs and almost keto, and a week of intermittent fasting, 23 hours of fasting, 1 hour of eating. The most amazing thing happened to me this past week. I have not been hungry one time all week.
Really?
Not hungry at all. It got to the point today about 5 o'clock. I said, I got to do a live stream tonight. I need to eat, but I don't feel like eating. Now, that's the natural response of your body telling you that, you don't really need food.
You train your body. Your
A
body
lot of eating is emotional.
But the thing about it is a lot of it is emotional, but it's still hormone driven by a hormone called ghrelin, and they've already learned what makes the levels of these hormones go up and down. And high insulin spikes, which you get when you eat a lot of sugar, is one of the things that turns on the appetite gene. That's why once you start eating sugar, you can't stop. You never feel satisfied. But you eat a rack of
buy candy.
you eat a rack of greasy baby back ribs like I ate tonight for dinner, man. By the time you get to that last rib, you can't look at another piece of food because fat and protein turns that hormone off, and it works. And I have to constantly prove this crap to myself, and I have in the past week. I have not in a whole week, not since the first day I started this one meal a day thing on, not once have I ever felt deprived or craved anything, and I'm a sugar addict. So for me to be able to say that, it's amazing. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you guys.
So just meats, right? Basically, proteins.
No, I don't want to get into the diet. I'll tell you what. There's 10 million videos on YouTube. If you want, I'll send you a couple links that really get into the logic and the explanation of why this
Val is all over the keto diet, Carlos.
Who?
It's the only Val. Yeah, we won't talk about that. All right, guys. I just wanted to. One of the reasons why I don't tough through this tonight is
Anyway,
that,
Copper State said he lost 25. And by the way, hello, Copper State. He lost 25
Yeah,
pounds.
hi, Mike. Yeah,
in the, keto.
it works. It works. And if you couple a keto diet with intermittent fasting, in other words, if you eat what's on the keto diet, and the keto diet is basically healthy fats, proteins, and vegetables and good carbs. You stay away from sugars as much as almost completely. You don't have to be in ketosis to be on a keto style diet. If you're in ketosis, that's a whole nother thing. And but to maintain your life, this is not a diet. This is a lifestyle. This is not something you go on and then when you achieve a goal, you get back off and start eating, 6 meals a day of donuts and bran muffins and crap like that's killing us all anyway.
The problem is I've always ingested too much sugar.
Well, then you're lucky you haven't gotten big, real fat. Some people just can't put on weight no matter what they do to themselves. But it's not helping your health. That's for damn sure.
He knows that.
I could talk for days.
That has to be careful in strong winds.
Ever since the days of Atkins, way back when he first started, I've been on the low carb, anti-sugar bandwagon because it just makes too much sense. If you know anything at all about biochemistry and you know anything about anthropology, and you look back at where the human species came from, and even if you look back 150 years at just how your ancestors ate.
Well,
100 years ago there was no heart disease or diabetes, pretty much.
Yeah, but people only live for 50 years too, but
They did not. They did not. They lived to be 100 plus back in those days. What killed people back in those days was in things that would still kill us today if not for modern medicine. Fevers, infections, gangrene, broken arms, people get eaten by animals, all kinds of things. But they didn't die from heart disease. They didn't die from clogged arteries. They didn't die from diabetes. There's so much information out there on this stuff. I don't want to have to preach it because it's not my desire to try to teach people what I've learned, because then I'm responsible and I don't want to be responsible. But it
All
works.
right, Mitch, play it. Press the button.
You tired of this? You had enough?
No, the button that gets you off the hook. Your little fast.
Oh, my
Yeah, you got to play
disclaimer
that
button.
button just in case.
All right, hang on a second. Yeah.
Cover your ass.
This is do not take any medical advice from this man. Where is it? That's not it. Oh man, where is it? Hold on a second.
He really is getting slow there, Ed, right?
I
In the
am.
past, he would have done
I caught him with his pants down.
Well, he is wearing shorts, we hope. No.
Offer no purchase necessary. Offer valid at participating locations. Void where prohibited. No animals were harmed during
There it
production of
is.
this soundboard. Subject to change without notice. Side effects include dry mouth, occasional pig snort or two, sore stomach, teary eyes, achy jaws, and whatever tingles well. Laughing hard.
There you go. My disclaimer.
Now he's covered.
Okay, and then something else I'd requested Carlos do, but obviously he forgot all about it, was Carlos was going to do a art impression, but he forgot his helium balloon.
It ran out of. I was messing around with Ed the other day. My son brought me a helium balloon from his birthday, and I sucked it in, and I sounded like your buddy Art.
All right, we're not going to insult Art on here. Although I didn't see Art. I didn't invite. I only invited you two guys because this was going to be a live build. I didn't want a big panel.
Smaller is better.
So I'm sure a lot of these guys that I usually invite probably got insulted and think I don't love them anymore. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to relax and unwind.
Thank you, Mitch.
And,
Have a good
I
evening,
enjoyed
Ed.
it. It's almost done, Carlos. As a matter of fact, I could probably finish it in less than an hour without having to worry about switching cameras and talking
Right.
and all that other crap. So
All right.
it's almost done. And
Cool.
next time you see it, probably will be at the hovering test, and then the next time I do a live stream, we'll show it off.
Yeah,
all right?
definitely. Absolutely.
Awesome, Mitch.
All right,
Take
guys.
it easy, brother.
All right, you take
Adios.
care. Good to see you. Good to see you. And whatever guys I got left, thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for putting up with my diet lecture, but does work, and it's like it's up to everybody to discover this stuff for themselves and decide who they want to listen to and who they don't. So, Rat, thanks for coming in. Ed, good to see you. Mike Kinney, thanks for being here. Mike Kelly, thank you, buddy. Good to see you. Paul, Minnesota Paul, thanks for coming in. Mike, Night Train, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging in there with us. I know this thing can get a little boring at times when I'm trying to ferret out some of the answers to this stuff, but it is what it is. Drone Bum, I don't know if you're still around, but good to see you, Paulie. And I think anybody I either got, if I missed anybody, sorry. With that, I'm going to just go relax and have a cup of tea. So I will see you the next time. I'll probably see you tomorrow night on Jim's stream. So until then, guys, I get a little music going on in here and turn you over to my buddy Spank and let him say goodnight. Say goodnight, Spanky.